CJ plays video games to block out a painful reality. His mom will never walk through the door again.
Look down at your heart, and your mama will always be right there for you. You want to say something to her, look down at your heart. And whatever you say to her, say it to her right there. The same way I have to do. I have to look right here, and I have to talk to her and ask her, just tell me what happened.
Instead of planning her 6-year-old grandson's birthday, Tina McMiller shared the last note Romeca Blackmon left for her son.
And then she wrote him a note in his lunchbox. And on the back of the note, he responded and said, I love you more, Mom.
The 31-year-old mom was shot and killed just after dropping her son off at school near Cermak State in the South Loop. She had gotten into a fight with another woman. Both of them share a child with the same man who lives nearby. He was also at that scene. That other woman, also 31, shot Blackmon 3 times. One bullet struck her in the face.
Got a female black, light complexion, green tracksuit, has a gun, fighting with another female black, dark complexion.
The shooter stayed on the scene, and as you can see, a witness pointed out the shooter to police. One of the witnesses also said the father of Blackmon's child had her in a headlock before the shots were fired.
I'm licensed to carry.
It doesn't matter.
You shot somebody. What the wrong with you?
The man in the shorts is CJ's father. He's covered in blood.
How did she just walk away? How? When they told you that he had her in the headlock, how did he even walk away? Why did they was so easy to walk away? They tell me, look at the video, they bumping fences. I don't know about any of that because I really can't even focus.
Court records show the shooter had filed multiple protective orders against Blackmon starting last December and as recently as this summer. The family believes she was trying to build a paper trail.
That's a game that was played and it was premeditated.
The shooter was taken into custody but later released. Blackmon's family says she was unarmed. Witness video also shows Blackmon's white car stopped in the street, but it's unclear how she got out. They insist there was no reason to shoot her. Blackmon worked 2 jobs and was studying to become a registered nurse. Her school awarded her mom a pin posthumously.
You had an opportunity to walk away, to call the police, to turn around and get in your car and drive off. You did none of the above.
The Cook County State's Attorney's Office did release a statement after an initial review of the evidence presented by police. There is insufficient information to make a charging decision at this time. We will continue working with the Chicago Police Department as the investigation proceeds and remain committed to pursuing justice for everyone in our communities. Blackmon's family says they know they can't hear her voice again, but want to hear from those that will make a decision on this case.
Not one call, nothing from the state's attorney at all.
Tia Ewing, Fox 32, Chicago.
Welcome back to the Juicy Lowdown. Let's get right into this latest story that is still developing regarding Quadajah Holly Johnson, a Chicago woman now at the center of a high-profile murder case that has shaken 2 families and raised sharp questions about what really happened on that September morning in the South Loop. Holly Johnson, 31, is facing first-degree murder charges in the death of 31-year-old Romeca Blackmon. Prosecutors say the fatal shooting took place on September 8, 2025, in downtown Chicago, shortly after Blackmon had dropped her child off at school. Unlike many defendants in similar cases, Johnson didn't have a messy criminal history. Her defense has pointed out that she had no prior arrests, was legally licensed to carry a firearm, and importantly, was reportedly pregnant at the time of the shooting. What makes this case particularly complicated and tragic is the relationship between the people involved. Johnson and Blackmon shared a connection through their children. Both women had a child with the same man, Carlos Smith. Smith, who was present at the scene of the shooting, has become a key figure in the legal battle. Prosecutors suggest that after the confrontation and the shooting, Smith fist bumped Johnson, a detail the state called significant, though Smith denies many of the allegations.
The defense outlined evidence they say contradicts the state's version of events, including 911 audio recordings and surveillance video. The defense also challenged the credibility of the state's key witness. We also heard again from Smith, who disputed claims made by prosecutors, including allegations that he fist bumped Johnson after the shooting and physically assaulted the victim seconds before she was killed.
I'm just tired of the lies and everything, what they said I did. I know for a fact it wasn't true. I didn't headlock her. I didn't beat her with the door. I only try to diffuse the situation. They keep deflecting away from that. And what I did what they saying I did made it sound harsh, and I didn't do that. So we need justice. We need justice to be served too, the truth. And they keep deflecting from it.
Okay, so in this video, I really want to know who was the guy behind Carlos that was looking like, why you lying? And I know a lot of us can't help who we fall in love with, but from some of the videos I've seen of Carlos, he looked like he's stuck on himself. In court, Smith has publicly rejected the notion that he was violent toward Blackmon or played the role the prosecution claims. In his own words, he said the narrative prosecutors painted made it sound harsh, and insisted he only tried to calm things down. According to prosecutors, the confrontation between Johnson and Blackmon didn't happen in a vacuum. It came after months of tension and disputes, and Johnson's legal team says there were past threats and hostility from Blackmon, including threatening messages through texts and via family members. Before the incident, Johnson had even obtained an order of protection against Blackmon, claiming a history of fear and harassment. Johnson maintains that when the confrontation occurred, she believed her life and the life of her child was in danger. Her defense argues that she acted in self-defense, a claim that under Illinois law can be justified if a person reasonably believes there is an imminent threat of harm. Since her arrest, Johnson has fought to be released from custody. Her attorneys have cited 911 recordings, surveillance video, and conflicting witness statements as evidence that the state's version of events isn't solid. They even question the credibility of key witnesses, arguing that some weren't paying attention to what happened. Despite these arguments, a judge denied her bond request, meaning Johnson remains behind bars as the case moves forward. Her next scheduled court dates were set for early February, and the recent court date a few days ago on March 3rd. But what exactly led up to this tragic situation?
I would never be begging a nigga to be with me after he got a baby on the way. I would never be having matching t-shirts on with a nigga that got a baby on the way. I would never be trying to play family with a nigga that got a baby on the way. I would never want to be with a nigga that burnt me while I was pregnant. I would never want to be a bitch like that. I would never be telling random people that my baby daddy burnt me. I would never tell nobody no shit like that. I would never tell random people that my baby daddy cheated on me our whole relationship, my whole pregnancy, that he cheated on me. I would never, you could never get me to tell no shit like that to no random people that I don't fucking know. I would never want to have a job to where I'm wiping old people's ass and giving old people showers and feeding them and shit. I would never want to have a job like that. I would never want to have a job that my car was in the shop for 2 years. I couldn't get it out. I would never want to have a job like that. I'm wiping ass and I ain't got no car still. I would never want no job like that. I would never want to be with a nigga that done got so many bitches pregnant during the time that I've known him. I would never want to be with a nigga like that. I would never want to be with a nigga that done played in my face for damn near 10 years. I would never want to be with a nigga like that. I'm getting me a new nigga ASAP. I would never have a big ass birthday party and have to catch a ride to my birthday party because I don't have a car.
So this is a video that I saw posted on Facebook, and I just want to reiterate fair use. I tried to get the date of this video and I couldn't find if this clip was made before the shooting or after. Now, to be fair, I think this video was probably made before the situation happened. And I have to ask, did Carlos allegedly play the two women against each other? The reason I'm saying this is because most women have had an issue with another female over a guy. However, a lot of times it doesn't end in a triple tap. Like, how and why did the two women have so much heat for each other that it came to this? Now, according to what's been reported, Holly was able to get a restraining order against Romeca back in December 2024. Let's take a listen at the reporter that has been covering this case.
Now, this is what the court is alleging. Now, this is a 3-page document of all of the facts from the court. So it says, witness 1 has a 6-month-old child in common with Johnson, as well as a 6-year-old child in common with Blackmon, the victim. In December 2024, the defendant sought a stalking no-contact order against the victim, alleging that the victim made verbal threats to the defendant through the defendant's family members. The defendant in this case, let's go back. So in December of 2024, the defendant sought a stalking no-contact order against, so that means that Johnson sought that stalking no-contact order against Romeca, alleging that Romeca made that verbal threats to her through Johnson's family members. Johnson did not allege that Blackmon committed any acts of violence against her. The order of protection was granted in July of 2025, but was never served on the victim. I think I kind of mentioned that a little bit earlier. On September 8th of 2025, just before 8:30 in the morning, witness 1 drove his black Mercedes SUV from his home located on South State Street. So this is the father in all of this, to the location of 20 West Cermak. Johnson was seated in the front passenger seat, and the 6-month-old child was in the rear. So the child was present through all of this, Johnson's child, in the removable car seat of the Mercedes. The defendant was dressed in a black jacket, that being Johnson, with green leggings. The father double parked his Mercedes on Cermak 2 car lengths in front of Johnson's black Chevy Cruze. Johnson and the father of their child then removed their child from the Mercedes and walked towards Johnson's Chevy and loaded the child into Johnson's vehicle. At approximately the same time, the victim drove her white Kia sedan to a school located nearby. The victim was dressed in a light pink outfit. She dropped her 6-year-old son off at school and then drove to where Johnson's Chevy and the father of their child was parked on Cermak. Romeca double parked her Kia on Cermak behind the father's Mercedes and got out, while Johnson stood outside of her car. At this time, witness 2, who does not know any of the parties, so a witness on the street, drove past Romeca, Johnson, and the father, observing that Johnson and Romeca standing in the street arguing, but unable to hear exactly what was being said. This person observed the father standing in between the two ladies with his arms extended, and then observed the Johnson, she's D in this case, the defendant, Johnson away. So witness 2 observed the father push Johnson away from Romeca, while that doesn't make sense, doesn't that, Flan? While Romeca, unarmed, stood stationary with her arms crossed across her chest. Minutes later, another witness on an eastbound bus that drove past saw this argument again between Johnson and Romeca. She observed, and bus video captured, Romeca and the father standing in the open driver's door area of Romeca's Kia. At this time, this witness was walking east on Cermak, approaching State Street. This witness got off the bus, walked across Cermak, and stood under the CTA green line stop near another witness. Those 2 witnesses also don't know any of the parties involved. They observed the father standing in between the 2 mothers, Johnson and Romeca. They observed Johnson walk towards the driver's door of the Kia, standing in the threshold of the driver's door with the father standing immediately outside of the driver's door. Johnson was standing on the sidewalk arguing with Romeca. Another witness observed the father strike Romeca by repeatedly swinging the driver's door of the Kia closed on her. Another witness called 911 reported that the father had struck Romeca multiple times with the car door. After her 911 call, Romeca entered her car. After her 911 call, she entered her car. But 2 witnesses then observed Johnson approach Romeca's car and heard Johnson making threats towards Romeca. Another witness walked closer to the incident at this time. That person observed Romeca exit the Kia, and when she did, observed the father approach Romeca from behind and place her in a chokehold with his right arm while striking her with his left. This is hard to listen to because this is some acts of domestic violence here as well. This witness observed Romeca unarmed with her hands in the air trying to break free from the father's grasp. A witness heard Johnson make threats to shoot Romeca and heard the father tell Romeca that Johnson had a gun. Johnson then went to her vehicle, was observed by another witness retrieving a handgun and then standing on the sidewalk. The victim was able to break free from the father's hold and took steps away from Johnson as observed by another witness. That witness observed Johnson put her handgun at Romeca, walked toward Romeca, and then fired multiple times at her with a pause between the first shot and the subsequent shots.
So that was a 15-minute clip that I had to cut down because it was too long and was repeating some of the information. Now, I saw this clip on TikTok where the reporter who has been covering the case is going over the documents that have been submitted into court. So it clears up a few things, such as Romeca dropped her son off at school, Holly and Carlos were in his car together, and they drove to Holly's car where they took their 6-month-old son from Carlos's car and put him in Holly's car. This was not too far from the school. So now all 3 of them are in or around the same area at the same time. That was Romeca and Holly's first time seeing each other in person, and the reporter stated that Holly had got a restraining order put on Romeca back in December 2024, but it hadn't been served yet, or Romeca didn't get it. This case goes beyond a single tragic shooting. It reveals how complicated relationships, past conflicts, and shared parenting ties can collide in ways that spiral out of control. Speaking on the past conflict, there were talks of domestic violence between Carlos and Romeca. I came across a video and a mugshot of Romeca where she was arrested for stabbing Carlos with a pair of scissors after he marked up her face. Now, I'm not going to play the whole video, but I do want to play this part because it seems like Holly may have got a little bit of inspiration on that "I would never" video based on Romeca's arrest.
And I'm being so serious with y'all. I would never pour
Why did you switch your
because he snapped my arm out of position.
Okay, you need to.
Like I'm the person that's look at me. Okay. Like imagine if I was your daughter. Like, and I'm being so serious with y'all. I would never.
Why did you switch your
because he snapped my arm out of position.
Okay, you need to.
Like I'm the person that's look at me. Okay. Like imagine if I was your daughter. Like, and I'm being so serious with y'all. I would never.
Why did you switch your
because he snapped my arm out of place.
Like I said, I didn't want to play the whole video, and you can go over to the Keys News Network to check out the full video. This case has been going on for a few months now, and with every pre-trial that has come up so far, Holly Johnson has been denied release a few times over the past 5 months by the judge. During the shooting, Holly was about 7 weeks pregnant, and it was rumored that she terminated her pregnancy. So far, I haven't seen anything that said she did. But I wonder if Holly did let her baby go. Was that solely her decision, or was she advised to do so? This situation is just bad all around. You got a baby that can't be near their mama, and one child that will never see their mama physically again in this lifetime is so sad. As I keep going down this rabbit hole, I saw some pictures that made my eyebrow raise, and I will post them in just a minute, but I want to read this post that was made by Romeca. How long does it take a BD to get over his BM? Asking for myself because this ninja gots to get off my D and be a dad. I'm tired of getting popped up on at my job and school, ready to get fought on. Ninja, go fight them other bees you clearly don't want. I only argue with you about our son, and I'm effing a million ninjas and disrespectful. B, I'm such a hoe, but don't want you on my mama G. You don't have my number or address. I'm tired of you playing with my name on me. Mister always say I'ma do or buy my son something and don't. I'm finna start eating you up, B. Hate my BD man. Not only did Romeca express how she felt about Carlos, but it also seems like she was tired of the abuse and cheating. It was said that they were in a relationship or have been dealing with each other for about 10 years. I sympathize with this situation because any of us can get caught up in a person. However, it is up to you how long you stay with that person. And what does your peace look like or is worth to you? Let's look at these photos. Do they look similar to you all? Some people are saying Holly was allegedly taking pics that Romeca already took years ago, and Romeca's folks is calling it out as Holly being just as obsessed as Carlos, allegedly. I don't know. It just seems like these women probably wouldn't have an issue with each other if it wasn't for the baby daddy in between. This is definitely going to be a trial to keep up with to see if Romeca's family gets justice and what is going to be Holly's fate. Let me know what you think and subscribe to the channel for more.